Hey guys, what's up? Namagi here, back again with another video. So today, I guess it's my return to recording videos, and you may be like, "Where'd you go?" So for starters, TB2 content's been pretty dry. Not much I wanted to upload since the game is getting a bunch of balance changes. So if I make like videos on characters, they're just gonna become outdated soon. So I'm just gonna wait before I continue making the guides. And two, I am moving, so haven't had a lot of time to record even if I wanted to. So there's that. Um, I guess it's good for me to introduce a AUT discussion video, as AUT is going to be introduced to my channel sooner rather than later. Um, and also Project Star whenever that game is finished, because I'm really looking forward to those two games a lot. But I guess it's a great way to start off my AUT videos with this. Before I continue, if you do enjoy this video, make sure you like, sub, and hit that bell to see more content like this, as it does help spread my channel. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get right into the video. So, starting off, my first video discussing AUT, we're going to be tackling the data reset recent drama that has occurred in the Discord. So, yesterday at 3:57 p.m. my time, Adam Misley, the head developer for AUT, says, "Hey guys, so we've run into a bit of a dilemma. Transferring the data is causing a lot of issues, and we're currently evaluating some decisions to take over data. If we were to reset data, would you quit the game?" And in the screenshot that's on your screen right now, you should see no. I voted no, and a majority of the community did. Well over double the amount of community voted no. 20K people. He says after that, "This will help us evaluate the actions to take. So to add context, the unobtainable stands are currently causing issues with the data and with the game, so we don't want to cater to only a few stands, but it doesn't feel fair to erase only some of them. This is causing big delays to the game, and we can't decide what to do. Knowing this, would you be okay with the data reset?" And again, I said yes, and I'll explain my reasoning for why in a bit. Adam Measley follows up to that with, "I personally believe it'll provide a more fair experience to newer players and allow you all to experience the new content, but I'm not going to do anything that ruins everyone's fun. We're not going to make any decisions until we've evaluated all the possibilities, but currently the staff team are divided. We aren't sure the benefits of a poll, and we'll let you know as soon as we come to a decision. Thank you. Please try to stay calm and know that this is only to gauge public opinions." And because of this, you could probably assume the Discord wasn't an outrage. Everyone was going crazy. It was pretty insane. Um, a little bit after that, he says, "Okay, so I can see that it's clear that opinion is massively divided. And so maybe a full data reset isn't in the best views of everyone. My suggestion is this. We have for a long time considered removing the shiny version of stands from the game and instead convert them into a stand skin system. If we were to do this, we could potentially use the old data and provide you with stand skins that reflect your unobtainables. We'd still reset data, and this would help us get the game released earlier. However, we'd also be able to make sure you keep your shiny and rare obtainable too. And the stand skins that would likely be added at a later date, and it is already planned. Would you be okay with receiving your unobtainable stands as stand skins for new stands instead of full stands and having the rest of the data reset?" And then after that, he says something about letting the poll sit, which I won't fully read because it's really not important. After that, he says, "Do also regard that having your obtainables as skins instead of actual stands would benefit us as developers, as it means less bug fixing and it doesn't change the stands too much, as they are essentially the same stand but reskinned in old AUT. And to clarify, these skins would only be given to people who are previously had the unobtainables. Hope that clears everything up. Have a nice day and vote wisely." He says, "Nothing is decided. Don't freak out, kiddos," because people were continuing to spaz out. Um, and I think now it's time for me to go into my thoughts on this, right? Um, I voted that data reset should occur. And here's why. I feel like it was already unfair that they were removing a lot of stands from players' accounts. And it's understandable for the reasons why they would do that. I just think it wasn't fair, right? You worked hard to get this stand. Not even worked hard. I'm not going to say that because that's an exaggeration. You got this character and you maybe even like using them, and then it's getting removed from your account. And a lot of accounts, this is for a lot of stands, and in some cases people are losing almost all of their old stands, all of their old stuff that they used to have, right? In my case, one of my friends, he's losing his, I think, Shadow of the World or something like that. He's losing his All Might, um, and some other things as well. So it's kind of like, well, I mean, a data reset doesn't really affect me. And I think it's kind of unfair for those people to lose their stuff and be at a lower point than other players, compared to players who aren't losing everything, right? And for newer players, it puts them at a disadvantage as well, as he already previously mentioned, because they don't have the same characters, the same stands as anyone else. You know, they don't have, well, any stands because they're new to the game. And it's a bit of an unfair situation. It would make everyone on a level playing field, and it just makes sense from a video game standpoint, because the game is starting from one point, an ABD clone, and becoming something more with all of the boss fight reworks, the combat reworks, new obtainment methods. The game just is completely different from what it used to be, and it honestly is strange that they didn't data reset, in my opinion. I thought that would make the most sense, um, to be completely honest, right? Um, but clearly, a lot of the community don't. They the vocal minority, I should say, complaining about losing their stands, had a lot to say actually. Going over to back to Adam, he says, "Okay, it's clear that far too many people are unhappy about the idea. Sorry if I caused any trouble. Have a nice evening." Right? And if I go to sub announcements, I believe, he says, "I'm forever known as the data reset guy now. Sorry for breaking your hearts," jokingly. He says, "But for real, you should go cast your vote. It'll help us a lot. You can DM me if you want to express your opinion. Limited time. I can only handle so much. I'll stop when it's blah, 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 blah." He says, "Not too long after that, just want to say that the people that are DMing me hate stuff. You lot are the massive minority. Look at the polls. The majority of people agree with my ideas. So I don't know what you want me to say. You can't please everyone. I'm just trying to do what's best. And I have to say, I can't agree anymore," right? You cannot make everyone happy, especially when you're looking at a game. Look at the Discord server, 360K members. How are you going one right now? 100, almost 120 members are online. There's no timeline where you're ever going to make every single member of this community happy. That's just not possible, right? Um, and I feel like you need to make decisions that will upset a bit of the community, but make a lot of the community actually happy, you know? Um, and I feel like this is one of those decisions. If the majority of the community is saying, yeah, go ahead, go for a data reset, I don't care, go ahead, right? If that's a majority of the community, you should take that community's heating, in my opinion. I feel like you shouldn't be listening to the vocal minority over the vast majority, you feel me? Because the vast majority is going to be the players who are playing the game, or more players who are playing the game than the minority. And going back to the poll, the first poll, which was, would you stop playing the game if there was a data reset? I don't think, I forget the exact number. 8,661 people said, yeah, I'm going to stop playing the game. That's cap. That's so much cap. All of those players, not all of those players, a majority of those players are still going to play AUT. They're going to hop on AUT and be like, yeah, it's data reset. I'm sad about it, but it's the game is still here at least. I get to play the game. Game is here sooner. Yeah, that's cool, right? But a few of them will be snotty-nosed brats about it and be like, I lost my stand that I waited 2 days for in an AFK private server, right? If there will be a couple players, and it's just gonna be that way with the communities, as I already mentioned. You can't make everyone happy, right? But a majority of those players are not literally going to stop playing the game. Almost double that amount of players are saying we're going to continue playing the game as well. So there's being blatantly honest, and there's some players who are like, yeah, it sucks, I'm going to continue playing the game. They're just exaggerating because they don't want a data reset. And then you have some players who will leave, but it's a very, very small minority, as Adam has already cleared up, right? Scrolling down, we have the third side, a developer for AUT. He said, still don't think it's such a bad idea, but whatever, which is how I feel. I don't mind a data reset at all. Actually, I'm in favor for it. But if there's not a data reset, I'm not too bothered by it. And then you have Switten, which is a head developer for the game. And he says, well, there are two sides. Data reset is not that bad because the game is new and everything needs to be fair, so everyone needs to restart the game. Which is my point of view, and he points out is Adams and pretty close to it. Then he says after that, data shouldn't reset because people worked hard for the stance they obtained, which I'm going to stop right there. I got to disagree. You did not work hard for any of your stance that you obtained in old AUT. I'm sorry to disappoint you, right? Unless you were farming the Dio boss for days and days and days and days and days, and then you got it, sure, you worked hard for it because you're actually doing something for a long time, right? Any other scenario, you just let your PC run with an auto clicker in a private server for 3 days to get your orb, your universe orb, or whatever orb you were looking for, right? That is what you did. You did not work hard for it. You just sat there, laying in your bed, eating Cheetos, getting whatever you wanted from the game, because that's what the game was, a piece of shit. It was trash. It was garbage. It wasn't a good game, right? You did not have to work for anything in that game, and the same thing applies for ABD, current ABD. New AUT is nothing like that, and you have to actually work for some of the stands at the very least. So I think from that point of view, there should be a data reset, as they are going to be two completely different games, right? Finishing off what he said, only resetting or renewing stance that got big reworks or similar is not that bad. Sure, whatever. Then Kerr says, it doesn't matter anymore. It won't happen now that the community don't want it. Some want it, but a lot of them don't want to. And I have a problem with that wording. And it's mostly because that's terrible wording. Now that the community don't want it, what do you mean? A majority of the community wants something. Typically, when you're referring to the community, you're referring to the majority. If the majority want something in the community, you refer to that as the community. So, for example, if you're in a town of people, you refer to that as the community. If 15 people in the community say that we should start buying red apples instead of green apples, right? If 15 people are saying that and 5 people are saying, no, let's continue buying green apples for us to eat, right? When you look at that vote, you look at the 15 people, because that's the community. That's the majority vote. That's the people who have the biggest say, the most amount of says in the agreements, right? So you go off of that. If it's like 7,000 people, or sorry, going back to the community idea, if it's like 12 people and 8 people, and like 8 people green apple, 12 people red apple, I could understand that. It's like there's a lot of people who are saying no, a lot of people saying yes. We're just gonna stay on the safe side and go with neither. That's fair because it's pretty split and pretty close, but it's not even close. It's literally double the amount of people saying go ahead, data reset, right? So I don't understand why Kurdev is referring to the community like the people who voted I'm gonna leave the game with the data reset. I don't know why he's referring to those people as the community when they're not the community. The community is the people who are saying go ahead for data reset. They're the majority. Now I'm not saying they're not part of the community, but the community wants it is what I'm trying to say, because the majority of the community do. Some want, you mean most want. I don't like that wording either because it's not some. Some refers to a couple people are, but most people are saying no. No, that's not true. Most people are saying go ahead, data reset. Some people are saying no, right? Kurdev says, but a lot of them don't want to. That is true. A lot of people don't want to, but the majority don't. So I'm not sure why you aren't taking the side of the majority, especially when the majority is so vastly larger than the minority who spoke. But a lot of them don't want to. We have to respect that and go on. And I really don't think you don't. I feel like if you pussyfoot in the game developing, that's not going to get you anywhere, right? You cannot be like, oh, well, some of the community doesn't want it, so I'm not going to implement it. I think that's pretty just bad. I don't agree with that at all. If you're in a situation, right, where you have a vast majority of the community saying yes to something, and a vocal minority saying no, you need to listen to the vast majority because that's the community, that's the larger part of the community that wants that thing, right? Their opinion should be prioritized over the voices of the people who don't want that thing, right? And I'm not saying their opinion should be disregarded completely, right? As I already said, if it's like a small difference in people, you should listen to them. But in this case, it's kind of like, why are you taking the vocal minority's opinions who are just being toxic and kind of babyish over the people who are actually making sense and are the majority, right? And you go on and they're saying no data reset. There's no data reset happening anymore. They're canceling the idea. And it's honestly kind of sad because I wanted the data reset and I feel like the data reset really should have happened. The vote won by a large amount and they had no reason to back down on it. And I hope they don't do this for future decisions with the game, personally. Okay, I'm gonna have to edit this in after, but one last thing I want to say is I was looking back on the messages to get my screenshots so I can edit them in, and I see one last message from the third side says, well, considering I instantly got a DM that read, shut up, twat. It's such a, I'm not gonna say that, it's very stupid. When I sent my message, so he sent his message and then he got that message. He said, I think this isn't something we should have made a public decision. And I have to say, I couldn't disagree more. These are the decisions that the community needs to hear because they're so big, they're so vast, they are so important, so controversial that it's almost required the community has a little bit of input or you have a little bit of community input before you go into these decisions. If you don't do that, then you're basically just going to have the community guessing what you're gonna do and you're not gonna really know how they feel about anything. And honestly, I think that's kind of bad, you know? What I really like about Kurdev is that he constantly is in communication with the community. In AUT entirely, not just Kurdev, right? They're constantly giving information about the development of the game, what they've done, what they've been up to, what changes they want to implement. It's constant communication, and I feel like they shouldn't be afraid to limit this communication because of a few bad eggs, I should say, right? I do have to say it's up to the community to not be those bad eggs. Don't treat the devs like dirt. Don't be DMing them hate messages, bro. Like, come on now, you're better than that, because you're DMing them hate messages, calling them twat, calling them this, that, and the other, over a Lego game. Are you kidding me? Come on now, for real. Like, going back to what I was saying, I don't think the community really deserves the devs like that. They don't deserve these devs. They really don't, because they treat them like they aren't giving them an amazing game, like they aren't working really hard, and they don't have amazing communication, even better than some like third-party developers, you know? So that's my take on that comment that he made. But TLDR, don't be afraid to ever communicate with the community because of some toxic comments that you may get about it. It's always great to have communication with your community so you know how they feel about any decision you make. What are your thoughts on the data reset in the comment section below? I'm not very disappointed, but I'm kind of disappointed in the way these events turned out. I'm disappointed in the community for the negative comments that they sent to any and all of the developers. I feel that's very rude and disrespectful, considering that they've spent so much time and effort making this game and making it better, and they're just trying to um, give the best experience to all players, not just a couple. Um, and I hope that they continue to do that. But when you have a community that's toxic like this, it really makes me wonder, do we deserve a game at all? And that is all for this video. If you did enjoy, please like, sub, and hit that bell to see more content like this. As I say, comment down below your thoughts and opinions on this matter. And yeah, without any further ado, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.